Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Naram Promotions, The Real Deal podcast show. Goodness gracious me. What a night. It's VIP Monday. Is it? Goodness gracious me. It's also Crazy Monday's night, right? We say the vibe is on. You know what I mean? I'm sorry for the late start. We were waiting to see if DJ Latta could get here on time. He's traveling from a far distance to get here, and he's not here yet. So the show must go on. You know what I mean? So we say safe journey to DJ Latta. Maybe he gets here before the show is over. We don't know. But the show goes on. You know what I mean? So welcome back to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. And it is PIP Monday. We have a packed show for you tonight, but I'm going to go into some real deal for you, the people. You know, there's a lot of things going on the earth, and we got to say, thank God. We say always pray when you're going out, pray when you're coming in, but always remember, God is in control. Always remember that. You know what I mean? The world is going so fast. Things are moving so fast. And we want answers. We want everything done so fast. But we are forgetting one thing, that we're not in control of our lives. And we're going to slow it down. Slow it down, ladies and gentlemen. Have respect for your elders and your family and friends. And you got to appreciate the little things in life. Always do that. We're forgetting how difficult it is to go day by day for each person, not because you have something going on in your life. You don't think the other person does not have something else going on in their life. But we just gotta get back that humanity in ourselves. You know what I mean? Have that respect, have that patience, that enthusiasm, work as a team, because together we're strong. On your own, you're weak. It said, divided we stand. I mean, together we stand, divided we fall. Ladies and gentlemen, life is short, real short. So let's not make enemies. Let's be friends and let's get together and each one teach one. You know what I mean? So I grew up I saw the 70s, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s, and 2000. Giving away my age there. But ladies and gentlemen, things have changed so dramatically, both with individuals, our culture, the way we interact, and it's getting worse. But one thing remains predominant, that God is in control, not you. So welcome back to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show, ladies and gentlemen. So as we do, we're gonna start with a couple of jokes. You know how it goes. However, let's talk about the Tokyo for a little bit before we get into the joke. Tokyo was badass. We had the men's 100 meter that let me play this first before I say anything, because this was a big deal that happened in Tokyo. This was it had Usain Bolt off his seat, you know what I mean? And Noah Lyles he was so cocky that he got his shirt handed to him. He had a bronze medal. So let's bring that to the stage and check this out for a second.
World champion of what? The United States?
With the slow reaction time and he won? Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. That man was panicking in the back. Yeah.
A few moments later.
All them attack. I mean, him bounce back up, come back up. Me will never bow to no man cause I got a my boss.
Oh, yeah.
If you want them write me off from him, no write me off. You can't cancel me.
Tell him. Yeah.
Justin back.
Jamaica won
I
too.
mean, him bounce back up, come back lock. Can't cancel me.
World champion of what?
He said champion of what? Take that to the bank. The women did great too. Jamaican women were represented. And it was a good look, I'm telling you. Yeah. It was amazing. So let's bring that up for a second. Yep, let's bring that up for a second. Here we go. We got a silver medal, and that, we're satisfied. It's Tokyo. But, look for the future, because this is going to be, and Shelly and Fraser Price, she's still hanging, and she's not on peak performance yet. So this is gonna be a big deal. Here we go. Let's check this out for a second.
Caribbean women made history in the women's 100 meter at the Tokyo World Championships with their outstanding performance. It was a moment that shocked the world and cemented the Caribbean's dominance in sprinting. From personal bests to championship records, these athletes proved they were a force to be reckoned with. Melissa Jefferson Wooden stormed out of the blocks, crossing the line with a championship record of 10.61 seconds to grab gold. Her performance was nothing short spectacular, setting a new personal best and matching the stadium record set by Elaine Thompson-Herah at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Right behind her, Tina Clayton ran an incredible race, earning silver with a massive personal best of 10.76 seconds. Julian Alfred, the Olympic champion for
That's a big deal. Tina Clayton, she hasn't peaked yet. Watch out. I know that goal is coming from Tina Clayton. Just watch out, and don't be surprised when you see the all-time champion, the Pocket Rocket. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming. So welcome back to Naram Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. So I want to start out with athletics because it was a good showing in Tokyo. It was a beautiful thing. I'm telling you guys, I was so proud of the athletes and their achievements, and they did a marvelous job to hold back the field. And trust me, there's better to come, because what we know. Hats off to Noah Lyles. He got a bronze. Yeah, congratulations to him. Kind of tone it down, Noah Lyles. Tone it down. You have some serious people on the field. You know what I mean? So when you see the black, green, and gold, you know what time it is. You know what I mean? So it's a big deal. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have two jokes before. I'm going to set the tone here. These two jokes you need to know. I'm going to give you a bonus joke tonight. So here we go. I'm going to share that with you. Here we go. All right. True Jamaican fashion, you know how it go? This is in true Jamaican taste and fashion. So let's bring that up. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. First joke. Hold on, let's start that again.
10 copycats sit down on a boat and one jump off. How much left?
10 copycat.
Yeah.
Sit down on a boat. One jump off.
Yeah. How much left?
How much left? 0.
0.
Yeah.
I guess that.
Because remember, 0 and 1 make 10. So if the one jump off, I must be 0 left.
Yeah, man, I'm right. I'm right. What do you think? Tell me in the comment section. I'm telling you, ladies and let's see. Something is playing in the background. I gotta get that off. There you go. All right, so let's get the second joke up, and this is the lion on the man and the lion on the safari. So let's bring that up, so we can set the tone. Here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, please do not try this at home. Yes, I'm telling you. Well, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. I would not like to be in his position, I'm telling you. So here's a bonus joke tonight. This is a bonus joke for everybody. And I'm going to give that to you right now. Here we go. So let's cue that up. Get that ready. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Bring that to the forefront. And I'm going to press play. Here we go.
Listen, I want you to be in my life.
Do you have a girlfriend?
I'm asking you to be in my life and you're asking me if I have a girlfriend. Have you ever seen someone going to buy a trouser, walking naked?
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You know what I mean? I hope you're feeling great. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell so we keep this family-friendly show alive. This is Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to also set the tone here with a couple of songs that have been going around on social media. And I'm trying to get that one back. Hold on a second. Let's see. Let's see if we can get it up here. Hold on. What happened to the thing I queued up? It's not there anymore. All right. So let's get back to regular programming because it's not there. But however, that's playing. Okay, that's good. So here we go. That one, not there. Okay. So we wanted to touch a couple of songs here. One from DJ Extension out of Maypen, Clarendon. He's vying to get your attention as an artist, and he's a great friend of mine. So I wanted to check out his music. It's also on YouTube and also other platforms. See, his name is Extension, a new artist out of the South Central of Jamaica, and he's doing things, and he wants to break the ice, So let's play a couple. We'll just play a couple seconds of his song, and then we'll move on to the next one. Here we go.
Yo, and Brains Records. We just go and stay firm down and face this out on the door. Enough people never want to make it out. But the wrong go. Any other
So check out DJ Extension. Big thing. Yeah, out of Maypen, Clarendon. Brand new artist is trying to make him play this song. I'm going to give him all the leeway and platform he needs. Because this is a big deal. It's a young artist and he's fine.
Into the fight, did it darkest weather, sleepless night, tears on me cry, Uncle God know why. Can't find a job, no me eyes on dry. Hard work, sacrifice, dwelling on the future like me a race time, but
Okay, there you go.
see me a go shine, soon get the wings to fly past bad mind, transform in a this life after most crime. Happy make it out hard work and patient, one build me own house, the one for parent. Next thing again, I want.
Big up to DJ Extension. Yeah. Big up to DJ Extension every time. And we have another artist who's been around for some time, and he's doing a lot of things, and he has some new tracks out there, and I want to share this with you. He's from St. Elizabeth in Jamaica, and his name is Chris DeMontague, and he's doing real great, guys, and he has some real good tracks. You can check it out on YouTube and also other platforms, but he's doing real good. So I'm going to play another track from his catalog, and he's doing good. Check him out. This is a big deal. So check it out right here at Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Here we go. Chris DeMontague. A roller coaster.
Oh baby, every time you share all those wonderful stories, I sometimes think you're not.
And he's got a lot more tracks for you to hear, because this is only the tip of the iceberg. Check him out on YouTube.
Makes me realize I'm too caught up on you.
Oh yeah.
Time and time again.
Check out Roller Coaster. It's a big time deal. It's on a 2-time rhythm, and you know who's on that too, from Mandeville. You know it.
Makes my world so lost living without you, girl.
Oh yeah. Chris DeMontague. Here we go.
I hate you, I love you, don't want you, but need you. What a wonderful love.
Goodness gracious, man. Chris DeMontague. Congratulations. Big deal on the 2-time rhythm. You heard it here at Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. And I'm telling you, that Chris DeMontague on the 2-time rhythm, you know, Cargo. You remember Cargo? Yeah, and the Angel. Yeah, man. Big deal. It's big things are going on. So coming soon here on Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show, you're going to have Asha D coming back to live UK radio on September 19th, 2025. I'm telling you, that's going to be a big deal. Asha D has been around he's my nephew, by the way, and he has been around for a long time in the music industry, and he hails from Sea Air District in Manchester, and he was on radio. He's also an avid studio person that does a lot of beats and lay out a lot of tracks for new artists and up and coming artists, and also some prominent artists. He's getting back into the radio business. He put it down for a while because, you know, he had to change radio stations. He had to get the agreements set up and his equipment. But he's now going to come back on the scene in a major way. You got to look out for him, because come September 19th, DJ Asha D is going to tear up the airwaves. And I'm telling you, if you think you know about music, wait till DJ Asha D hits the airwaves. He's going to be on passionradiouk.com. Go to the website, download the app. It's called the Traffic Jam Show. It's going to be on Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every week. This is a big deal in the UK, ladies and gentlemen, and you heard it here on Naram Promotions Real Deal podcast show. Big up to Asher D. He's gonna break the ice and get back on a live air on radio in the UK. And I'm telling you, he's gonna do it in a big way. Check it out. It's gonna be Friday, September 19th. Friday, September 19th. You know when that is? Today's the 15th, right? Okay, if today's the 15th, it's in 4 days' time. And we're going to get him on the show in 24 to 48 hours to talk about it. So like, share, subscribe, comment, click that notification bell. Asher D will be live on Naram Promotions, The Real Deal podcast show before he debuts on Passion Radio UK. Here we go. Big up to Asher D. He's gonna create waves on Passion UK Radio because he's the real deal. I'm telling you, big up to him, and he will be here live. So like, share, subscribe, comment, click that notification bell. You don't want to miss this. This is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Asher D's back on radio. So the former Alpart workers who are disenfranchised from their pensions, we're gonna reset that meeting very soon. So like, share, subscribe, comment, click that notification bell. Keep locked into the show because we're gonna announce that date real soon. So keep your ears right here. And also you remember Kahalia Martin and the gymnastics team and Coach Jody that went to the Dominican Republic. They will be back here. They came third out of 30 countries, and they were the only team from Jamaica representing Jamaica in the gymnastics. And also, I think the U.S. team competed also out of those 30 countries, and they came third. They were the one gold medals. So it's a combination of medals that gave them third place. And we say congratulations to them. Look out, listen out. They'll be here on the show to talk about it soon. Here we go. And you remember Jamaican. He will be back on the show soon. He's on tour. He's doing his thing, and he'll be on the show soon. So keep listening out for that date because we're going to post that date for all our events that are coming up. And you got to like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, ladies and gentlemen. You remember Hot Gossip? Hot Gossip will be back on the show real soon. We're waiting for DJ Latta. Yes, we're waiting for DJ Latta, and he's on his way down. He's as I told you before, he's on international business. He's taking care of some stuff. He's coming back into the U.S. He's gonna take care of some stuff, get back out there, and tie up his business. You understand me? So hats off to DJ Latta. He has to be here for Hot Gossip to complete that series, and also Dragon Force. You remember Dragon Force and the Mad Squad crew? Yeah, big up to them. So listen out, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna set that date real soon. So you gotta listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. And also, the Naram UK family, the foundation of Naram, will be here on the show. You gotta like, share, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell, or click that heart, click the like button. You gotta subscribe and come on live. You can also donate to, big up to you, the people. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to touch into some immigration news. Not a lot of it. So you don't have to worry. But it is critical that I touch on these subjects. And U.S. immigration has changed, and I say it may have changed forever and ever. Now, you notice what is going on now with President Trump. A lot of people don't like President Trump, but you got to think about what he's doing. A lot of people get the opportunity to come to the United States and they do the wrong things and expect that everybody should agree with them and say they're right. Come on, think about it. You know, you cross the border, you come here, you get benefits and all that good stuff. They take care of you, and you think that it should last forever. It does not work like that, ladies and gentlemen. Also, I know there's humanitarian reasons. However, present your case in a logical way, so that they can make a determination. Immigration still works, but you've got to come with the proof. They're now scrutinizing a lot more. It's just like a lot of people here in the United States or other first world countries from Jamaica, and I'm talking about Jamaica and you know, other parts of the world, and they try to look after their family and friends in Jamaica, and for some reason you don't appreciate it. You know how these people and myself, everybody has to work to get that money to send back home, to send home those goods, to buy these stuff. You know how much does it, you know, it costs to travel there, because you have to pay your bills here and pay for going there, your airfare and all the stuff that you buy and ship. And you got to go there, spend money, and come back here and also have money to pay your bills and live. A lot of people don't appreciate the fact that you go out of your way and you stay the course to your obligations, or you find yourself wanting to be obligated to those back home to help them, but they never appreciate it. This is why a lot of people come here and in the United States and other first world countries, and they disrespect the system, disrespect the United States flag and the government and the people, and expect that you're going to welcome them with open arms. If somebody comes to your house, eats your food, sleeps in your bed, destroys your property, how long are they going to stay there? You tell me. How long are you going to stay in a relationship that is only one way? When you go out of your way to take care of the other person, they never appreciate it. You send money, you ship stuff, you buy stuff, you travel there, and they never appreciate it. And they come here and expect that you should provide for them too, or you should bring them here. This system has changed, and President Donald Trump is saying law and order must prevail. We gotta have common sense, empathy, and appreciation for the small things. If you cannot recognize that, then you're in the wrong world. You gotta go to Mars. Live on your own. Ladies and gentlemen, this is serious. People come here, riot, tear down stuff, live here free, get free everything, and they expect that it's going to be business as usual every day. Come on, let's think about it. Look at the government of Jamaica, the government of any country. They're put there by the people in every democratic country. But these men and women work odd hours. They look through multiple stuff to try to create that balance to make you live in comfort. They plan with very little. And the election is coming around and you're not respectful of these politicians that every day they put their lives on the line and they sacrifice their time to make sure that the people of Jamaica is okay and other parts of the democratic world. we tear them down. We're not saying everybody is honest, but if you're honest, raise your hand. Tell me in the comment section. But how many around you are really honest and can say they have a clean slate? Because if your sin is big as a mustard seed, then it's sin. So if the person's sin is big as the Titanic, the mustard seed, the Titanic, same sin. But you gotta respect those who are in leadership and those who are on your side. Play on their team. Be respectful. We're going into an era in this world that now the youngsters are behaving as if they can get away with anything. They neglect their education. Well, I'm not talking everybody here, but education is not as on the forefront as it should be, because education is the escape from poverty. Higher education is the elevation away from poverty, because you can think critically. Then do your research. You can make informed decisions. You know what a spreadsheet is like, how to plan and set goals that are realistic and not fly by the seat of your pants. I say, yeah, man, I know it's not my head. It's not my head. Doesn't work like that. Black and white. You can organize, unify, elevate, progress. Ladies and gentlemen, think carefully, because for the ladies who are so arrogant that they can sleep around and do whatever they want to do, that's fine, but time is the master. Because all of us have an expiry date. And you have a thing called sickness, accident, death, that can stop you right in your tracks, because tomorrow is not promised to anyone. But we must humble ourselves, educate ourselves, inform ourselves, plan ahead, and be conservative. Unity is strength. Unity is strength. Unity is strength. So I'm going to touch in some immigration news, ladies and gentlemen. And I want you to listen carefully, because right now, this is for green card holders. What you should know. This is a big deal because things have changed. And this is about detention and what you should know about detentions, and also when you get to your court hearings. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let's bring that to the fore, and I'll comment on it afterwards. Here we go. Let's start this.
USCIS interviews and detention, what you need to know. Today we're uncovering the truth about detention at USCIS interviews. We'll break down what really goes on, your rights, and the latest updates that could change everything. Stick around, this could save you from a heartbreaking surprise. Let's dive in. What are USCIS interviews? First things first, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services handles the civil side of immigration, like green cards, naturalization, and asylum applications. Your interview is usually a straightforward chat to verify your application. It's held at a local USCIS field office, and most go smoothly. Over 90% of adjustment of status interviews result in approvals without issues. But here's the truth, these aren't isolated from enforcement. USCIS shares info with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and in rare cases, that can lead to detention right there on site. When does detention happen? Detention at USCIS interviews isn't random, it's targeted. It typically occurs if you have a prior deportation order or outstanding warrant. There's suspected fraud in your application, like mismatched documents. You have a criminal history that triggers ICE flags. In these moments, ICE agents sometimes waiting outside or even inside can take you into custody for further proceedings. It's not about gotcha tactics, it's enforcement of existing laws. But it feels devastating, especially for families who've built lives here. Take Casper's story from April 2025, a green card holder with his wife for a final interview in Memphis. They arrived excited only to be met by ICE. He was detained on a prior issue, separated from his family for weeks. Stories like this are rising. Since early 2025, reports show ICE arrests at USCIS field offices have spiked, especially targeting those with removal orders or fraud suspicions. And it's not just interviews, check-ins, and even naturalization oaths have seen this too. Your rights, what to do if it happens. The good news? You have rights even in these high-stakes moments. Here's how to protect yourself. Always bring a lawyer or trusted representative. They can speak for you and spot red flags early. Know the basics, you have the right to remain silent, ask for an attorney, and not sign anything without advice. Don't resist, cooperate calmly to avoid escalation. Prepare ahead, double-check your docs, disclose everything honestly, and research your case history. Post-detention, if detained, request a bond hearing ASAP. Many are released with supervision. Remember, detention doesn't mean deportation. Thousands fight and win their cases every year. Stay strong. Resources like the National Immigrant Justice Center can guide you. New updates for 2025. What's changing? Now, the big 2025 updates you can't ignore. Under the current administration's push for stricter enforcement, arrests at USCIS sites have jumped nationwide, aiming for thousands daily. But here's the game changer. Starting October 6, 2025, USCIS itself is getting new, special agents with arrest powers, firearms, and even lethal force authority in extreme cases. This codifies a May 2025 delegation from DHS, letting USCIS not just interview but actively enforce, like issuing removal orders and assisting ICE on-site. Already, since February, USCIS has helped initiate proceedings for over 26,000 people and conducted arrests during appointments. Funding? It's from user fees, but details on training and numbers are still unfolding. For asylum seekers, detention at related hearings slowed by August, but interviews remain a hotspot. Bottom line, if your interviews after October, extra caution is key. Consult an immigration attorney now. Tips to avoid or prepare for the worst, practical, upbeat visuals. To wrap up the how-to, schedule with a lawyer present. Many offer virtual prep. Use AILA's client flyers to brief your family on what to do if you're detained. Report incidents to groups like AILA for patterns that could help future cases. Focus on the positive. Millions succeed through legal channels every year. You're not alone. Outro and call to action. It's real, it's rising, but knowledge is your shield. If this helped, hit like, subscribe for weekly immigration breakdowns, and comment below.
USCIS interviews.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. The landscape for immigration is, U.S. immigration is not the same or business as usual. You gotta know before you go. Always remember to talk to an immigration attorney, talk to an immigration specialist. You need to know before you go. This is not business as usual anymore, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big, big deal here in the United States. Things have changed. It's not business as usual. Don't take anything for granted, because I've been talking to a lot of people who think they can do it on their own. Hats off to you. You may, but the landscape has changed and it's a different battlefield. It is a different battlefield, ladies and gentlemen. Call me. I'll point you in the right directions. Look down below. Contact me in any of those numbers and I'll point you in the right direction. But you got to speak to an immigration specialist. Speak to an immigration attorney, because things have changed in major ways. Welcome back to Naran Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. It's U.S. immigration, ladies and gentlemen. And the topic I'm going to talk about right now has to do with visa holders. Whether you're here in the United States or you're somewhere in the world, just remember, 55 million visas will now be scrutinized for them to take it away from you. Did you hear me? Huh? Did I hear? Did you hear me? Okay. 55 million U.S. visas or visa holders are now going to be scrutinized for either deportation or revocation. Did you hear me? 55 million visa holders will be scrutinized either for deportation or revocation. Do you understand the magnitude of what I'm talking about here? You got your visa and you did the wrong thing. You made a mistake. You worked here when you shouldn't have. You overstayed when you shouldn't have. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. This is serious, ladies and gentlemen. This is breaking news. 55 million. 55 million U.S. visa holders will be scrutinized for revocation or deportation. Wow. Let's dive into that right now. We're going to dive into that right now. We gotta, ladies and gentlemen, this is not ordinary. I told you things have changed. Okay. You think it not? Here we go. I'm going to bring that to the stage right now. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Here we go.
Breaking news. The Trump administration just announced they're going to be reviewing 55 million visa holders. These are people with actual visas, tourist visas, work visas, student visas, to see if they have deportable violations. So what does it mean? They're going to start reviewing law enforcement and immigration record and tax record, social media account, and any other information that they get about you after you received your visa. Since January, they revoked over 10,000 visas, student visas, tourist visas, for people that had DUIs, unlawful employment, and minor criminal offenses. Imagine you had a student visa, but you also worked on Uber at night. Now they're going to find out, and guess what? Your visa will be canceled and you'll be deported. Or maybe you were actively bad-mouthing Trump on social media. Guess what? They're going after your visa. If you have a visa and you're planning to travel, speak with an attorney before leaving. And follow me for daily updates just like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. This is no joke. It's the real deal. It is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. 55 million U.S. visa holders will be reviewed. So those who came here and did not go back home, you're working, guess what? They're going to take away those visas and put you in active deportation. And guess what? There's $1,000 a day to be here undocumented or not in legal status. The landscape of U.S. immigration has changed forever. That's what I say. That's my opinion. Tell me in the comment section if you think I'm wrong. 55 million U.S. visa holders, whether you're a student visa, work visa, visitor's visa, they're going to look back on these 55 million visa holders to find out if you've committed an act that will trigger deportation or revocation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a big, big deal. Welcome back to Naran Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's not business as usual. No, it's not. U.S. immigration has changed. And a lot of people cannot come to reckon with it because they think that they can still circumvent the system. This is by design. It's by design, ladies and gentlemen. U.S. immigration has changed. They're taking away Section 8 housing. They're taking away your benefits. The Supreme Court has sided with the President of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not business as usual. Take heed. Talk to an immigration attorney, talk to an immigration specialist. Every attorney that's in the immigration business will tell you this is not the time for double doubles. Ladies and gentlemen, I got one more from Attorney Branca about the Supreme Court's ruling. Just for you to understand what it means to be in the United States right now, or trying to aspire to come to the United States. Remember, your social media, if you trash the United States in the past, it's there forever. It's still on your digital footprint. If you associate yourself with certain criminal elements, terrorists, and you've projected the wrong opinions that is adverse to the United States, stars and stripes, baby. You're not coming here. Or if you're here, you're going home. U.S. citizenship is in question, ladies and gentlemen. People who were born here of parents who were not subject to the United States laws are now finding out that they are not citizens of the United States. It has changed. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, to bring it to you. This is Naran Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show, and I'm giving you the real deal. It is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. This is no joke. It's no joke. And those who are here have to work twice as hard to support their families abroad. There's no dishing out of anything right now. That's all dried up. So those who used to get those Section 8 and government benefits, it's now cut off. And they're saying those who are on it, there's a limit to that now. So you will not be on it forever and ever like before. Ladies and gentlemen, things have changed. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Because
if you're among the many women,
this is not normal. I'm going to bring up the last U.S. immigration video, and I'm going to cut it there, and then we're going to go into some community news, community events, and we're going to big up some community business stuff You understand? In the South Central Jamaica. You know what I mean? Southeast, Central Elizabeth, Southwest Manchester, Central Jamaica in general. Clarendon involved. You understand me? Yeah, we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna close the show after that. We're gonna talk about some events in those areas, South Central Jamaica, and also here in the United States with the diaspora. We have some also international news that's coming up on our next show. So like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. But right now, we're going to share our screen, and I'm going to bring to you the last immigration video with Attorney Branca. And he's going to tell you what you need to know about what's going on. Okay? This is a lot of wins. 3 major wins in the Supreme Court for President Donald Trump. And if you think that you can circumvent the system, think again. Think again, ladies and gentlemen. This is no joke. No joke. Attorney Andrew Branca, he's on the, I think the Supreme, he's a member of the Supreme Court bar. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Prominent attorney, and he lays it out to you from the facts. So you got to listen carefully to what he has to say. So this is a big deal. I'm going to play the entire segment of this attorney. Okay? Check him out. Here we go. Let's start it.
All these people were initially given parole. If you're here, if you're present in the U.S. under parole, you're not subject to expedited removal. The government doesn't have that option. So what the government is doing here is they're saying, all right, well, you had parole and we couldn't expedite your removal from the U.S., but we're now ending your parole, and having ended your parole, you no longer have parole status, and now we can subject you to expedited removal. That's Trump's position. The position of the plaintiffs, which the Judge Indira Telwani bought, was that no. If you've ever been present under conditions of parole, that permanently excludes you from expedited removal, even if your parole status has been expired or terminated. Get the difference? All right, let's get to the second decision here. This is not exactly the same legal issues, but the same group of temporary protected refugees. Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela. Slightly different issues, slightly different outcome. And of course, ultimately, this will all be worked out at the Supreme Court level. Now, these judges were 2 Biden judges and 1 Obama judge. So all of these are left-wing judges. And yet they unanimously ruled, no split decision, 3-0 in favor of Trump. So let's get to this. Let me grab my pen. This appeal centers on the executive branch authority to categorically terminate parole grants under the Immigration and Nationality Act. Parole permits a non-citizen to enter the United States temporarily while investigating eligibility for admission to take place. Besides allowing legal access to the U.S. with the ability to work, well, that's nice. So they're already consuming employment resources. In some cases, they receive federal benefits. Why are third world migrants getting federal benefits? Do I get federal benefits? I mean, I'm just an American citizen paying for the benefits. In some cases, they receive federal benefits. A grant of parole does not per se confer additional rights upon a non-citizen. The Immigration Act empowers the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security to grant parole of non-citizens into the U.S. only on a case-by-case basis for urgent humanitarian reasons or significant public benefit. Is that what Biden was doing when he let tens of millions of third world invaders into our nation? Legally, legal status, They're here on parole status. Many presidential administrations have invoked this authority to grant parole to non-citizens. Most relevant to the instant appeal, DHS under President Joe Autopen Dementia Biden launched a parole program under which the nationals of Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, CHNV, who met certain categorical, not individual, categorical criteria, could seek discretionary individual grants of parole into the U.S. for up to 2 years. Between October 2022 and January 2025, about 500,000 individuals received grants for parole under the CHNV program. But when President Trump took office, January 20th, the day he was sworn in, he signed Securing Our Borders executive order, directing DHS to terminate all categorical parole programs that are contrary to the policies of the U.S. 2 months later, DHS published termination of parole processes for Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans, announcing it was terminating the CHNV parole program. Among other actions announced in that termination notice, they revoked all existing grants of parole in a month's time.
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right
Okay,
now?
let's get that
Well, forget
on
about AI,
screen.
quantum computing, electric vehicles,
we
cryptocurrencies, or robotics. A little-known technology is projected to become roughly 10 times bigger than all of these technologies combined.
Let's get that off.
Rather than letting each expire at the end of the individual 2-year period. You must all go home right the F now. Plaintiffs, CHNV parolees, all of whom were affected by the revocation of parole, filed suit, sought a stay in the United States District Court for the District Court of Massachusetts. And the judge there, the unelected black-robed, tyrannical, inferior district trial court judge there is Indira Talwani, classic American name. This one was born in the U.S., born in New Jersey. I don't know if she was born to American citizens or third world invaders, which would make her not an American citizen. Invaders do not grant birthright citizenship to their children just because they were popped out on American soil. I wonder if I can find out quickly. Should I look to see if her parents were migrants? Let me see. Let me see if Grok can tell me quickly. Look at this. Oh my God. She's not an American citizen. She's another foreign national federal judge ordering about our president. Look at this. This should horrify all of us. Were the parents of federal judge Indira Talwani, the unelected black-robed tyrannical inferior district trial court judge who ruled against Trump in this case, were her parents American citizens when she was born in New Jersey? Grok says no. The parents of federal judge Indira Talwani were not American citizens when she was born on October 6, 1960 in Englewood, New Jersey. Her father, Manik Talwani, was born in Punjab, India in 1933 and immigrated to the U.S. in the mid-1950s to pursue graduate studies in geophysics at Columbia University, earning his PhD. In 1959, her mother immigrated from Germany around the same time. Reliable sources, including her Wikipedia entry, Senate confirmation records, and obituaries, describe Talwani as the daughter of immigrants from India and Germany with no indication of them being naturalized before her birth. So she, under any proper understanding of American immigration law, Indira Talwani is either an Indian or a German national. She is not an American citizen. Horrific. Why can't we find natural-born Americans who are American citizens to be our federal judges? Do we not have enough people? A nation of 340 million people? Why do we keep putting into federal bench positions non-American citizens? Does any other nation do that? The district court of unelected black-robed tyrannical inferior federal judge Indira Talwani, an Indian/German national on the American federal bench, granted the preliminary injunction request certifying a class of individuals, so not just the plaintiffs before her, but another universal injunction, a class of individuals paroled under the CHNV program, and freezing Trump's termination notice. So ordering our elected Article 2 executive branch president around as if he were a mere clerk in her court. The government appealed. For the reasons explained below, we, this Court of Appeals, a 3-judge liberal panel, freeze the order of Judge Indira Telwani. This was Biden, Obama judges. Because the text and legislative history favored the government's position, we conclude the plaintiffs have not demonstrated a strong likelihood of success in establishing that the statute requires the secretary to end grants of parole on a case-by-case basis. The district court, therefore, legally committed error in issuing injunctive relief. What about the APA argument? Was it arbitrary and capricious to terminate parole? Or did the Trump administration have a reason? The alleged legal error. The APA instructs a reviewing court to set aside agency action that is arbitrary, capricious, an abuse of discretion, or otherwise not in accordance with law. An agency's decision is arbitrary and capricious if the agency relied on improper factors, disregarded an important aspect of the problem, offered an explanation that runs counter to the evidence, or when a reasonable explanation of the agency decision cannot be discerned. Agency action that is premised on a legal error runs afoul of this standard. The unelected black-robed tyrannical inferior district trial court judge Indira Telwani, a citizen of India, Germany, determined that the third world migrants here were likely to prevail on their argument that the decision was based on obvious legal error, the decision to end parole. The secretary's explanation for termination rested on the premise that the Immigration and Nationalization Act prohibited the use of expedited removal proceedings for prior parole recipients who had been continuously present in the country for at least 2 years. DHS explained that it sought to terminate parole early for existing parolees rather than permit their parole to naturally expire to minimize the number of people who would have been otherwise been ineligible by statute for expedited removal proceedings by virtue of their 2-year continuous presence in the United States. All these people were initially given parole. If you're here, if you're present in the U.S. under parole, you're not subject to expedited removal. The government doesn't have that option. So what the government is doing here is they're saying, all right, well, you had parole and we couldn't expedite your removal from the U.S., but we are now ending your parole, and having ended your parole, you no longer have parole status, and now we can subject you to expedited removal. That's Trump's position. The position of the plaintiffs, which the Judge Indira Telwani bought, was that no. If you've ever been present under conditions of parole, that permanently excludes you from expedited removal, even if your parole status has been expired or terminated. Get the difference? The trial court of Indira Telwani agreed with the plaintiffs that the statute does not subject persons who were authorized to enter the U.S. to expedited removal, regardless of how long they have been in the U.S. So if you're ever under parole, you're forever free of the risk of expedited removal. Judge Indira Telwani reasoned the premise of DHS's preferred rationale for terminating parole for existing recipients was faulty in this respect, that parole could be terminated and then allow for expedited removal. We, the Court of Appeals, addressed this issue mindful of the burden of the migrants in the context of a state to demonstrate a strong likelihood of success. We cannot agree that they've made that showing here. The Immigration Act permits only those who have not been admitted or paroled in the U.S. to be subject to expedited removal. The parties reasonably disagree on the meaning of have been paroled in this context. Plaintiffs and Judge Indira Telwani reasonably read the language to mean those who have been granted parole at some point, at any point in the past, are not subject to expedited removal, whether or not that parole has since been terminated. Viewed this way, no prior recipient of parole can be subject to expedited removal. The government, on the other hand, reasonably reads the have been paroled to refer to those with the current status of being paroled, not being subject to expedited removal. Under that reading, the statute clarifies that people who are currently paroled may not be subject to expedited removal. However, it does not impose a categorical ban on the use of expedited removal for those whose past parole has been terminated. Both readings are plausible because, as plaintiffs point out, parole can refer to both a manner of entry, they were paroled at some time in the past when they came into the country, and a current status. Do they have the current status of being in a state of parole? Similarly, the present perfect tense, have been paroled, can be used both to denote an act that has been completed and to denote an event that continues to be true in the present. Although both sides offer regulations in support of their interpretations, the fact that different regulations appear to support both interpretations does not shed light on which interpretation Congress intended, because Congress passes statutes, not regulations. Since the government's interpretation of the statute is persuasive enough, we cannot discern a clear legal error, as the trial court put it, in Trump's reasoning proffered in the termination notice. We are therefore unable to conclude that the plaintiffs have made the required strong showing that the agency action was arbitrary, capricious, an abuse of discretion, or otherwise not accordance with law. In other words, in immigration matters, we defer to the president unless he's made an obvious, a clear legal error. And that's not the case here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about 3 major wins in the appeals court for Donald Trump. President Donald Trump, I must stand corrected, that has changed the trajectory of immigration for certain class or category of immigrants or people who are seeking benefits from the United States. Those who also abuse the system are now finding out that the Supreme Court, the appeals court, the lower federal district courts cannot go against the law. It's a big deal. Let's continue to listen to Attorney Andrew Branca as he lays out these 3 wins of President Donald Trump. Here we go.
There's a reasonable interpretation of the statute consistent with what Trump is doing. As additional, independently sufficient reasons supporting freezing the judge's order, the district court concluded that the termination was arbitrary and capricious. Judge Indira Telwani concluded this in part because the termination notice did not attend to any of the humanitarian reasons underlying the creation of the program, and because the significant reliance interests at stake.
Hi, I'm James. I'm the founder of Premium Grounding. When I first heard about grounding, I thought it was the biggest load of rubbish. I was so skeptical about it, but I've been sleeping really badly.
Get rid of that.
Which the termination notice recognizes aliens departing their native countries, incurring travel expenses to the U.S., obtaining housing and means of transport. I thought we paid for all this ourselves for them.
So there's a lot of people, millions, who were getting government benefits. Yeah. Government benefits. They walk through the border. They come in and say, hey, we want free stuff. And we, the taxpayers, had to foot that bill. And they said, okay, we want it for life. You gotta go. Doesn't work like that. You gotta work for your own. So now is the real deal. Let's continue to listen to this.
And building connections in their communities. That all required Department of Homeland Security to give a justification for terminating existing grants of parole within 30 days instead of waiting until the original termination date. We disagree, the 3-judge Court of Appeals. We conclude the plaintiffs, the migrants here, have not made a strong showing that they are likely to succeed in demonstrating the Secretary's actions were arbitrary and capricious because she provided a reasoned explanation for terminating grants of parole. The APA mandates an executive agency's exercise of discretion be reasonable and reasonably explained. The change in position doctrine, which applies when an agency changes existing policy, is relevant in assessing this action here. Under the doctrine, agencies are free to change their existing policies as long as they provide a reasoned explanation for the change display awareness that they are changing position, and consider serious reliance interest. To satisfy that requirement, it provides a good reasoned explanation for its action. The agency must show that there are good reasons for the new policy. The Supreme Court has clarified that the agency need not demonstrate to a court's satisfaction that the reasons for the new policy are better than the reasons for the old one. It suffices that the new policy is permissible under the statute and that there are good reasons for it and that the agency believes it to be better, which the conscious change of course adequately indicates. This means that the agency need not always provide a more detailed justification than what would suffice for a new policy created on a blank slate if there hadn't been a pre-existing regulation that was being changed. Of course, the agency must consider the impact the policy change will have on any serious reliance interest. To do so, it must consider whether there are reliance interests, determine whether they are significant, and weigh any such interest against competing policy concerns. On the other hand, review under the arbitrary and capricious standard is narrow, and this court may not substitute its judgment for the judgment of the agency, even if it disagrees with the agency's conclusions. Here, the parties disagree with the scope of the reasons that we should review under the termination notice. The migrants say we should examine only the reason given in the section of the termination notice that addressed the effect on termination of current parolees. The reason listed there was DHS's interest in preserving the ability to pursue expedited removal, which the migrants contend was a legal error. We've already addressed that. It was not a legal error. In contrast, Trump argues that we should also include as reasons all of the reasons in the termination notice more generally, concerning, for example, the cancellation of the parole programs moving forward and the denial of all pending CHNV parole applications. This was the issue in the prior case we just read out of the Ninth Circuit. That concluded that Trump can deny parole for those pending who said, oh, we're about to come in. Those additional reasons also include the Secretary's assessment that neither urgent humanitarian reasons nor a significant public benefit warranted continuing the program, that the parole programs had not improved border security as promised, that parolees were competing for limited resources, including public benefits, with American citizens.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Naram Promotion, the Real Deal Podcast Show. These were 3 big wins for Donald Trump and attorney Andrew Branca on the Andrew Branca Show is laying out what was summarized by the courts regarding protected status. Protected status? However, it has a wide-ranging effect that if you think you can come here and depend on taxpayers' money to live, they're ending that. That free stuff, free living, the 5-star hotel, the 5-star food and delivery and Uber is over. Those checks coming every month is over. It's done. It's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. It is back to law and order. It's back to common sense. Just as I said earlier, those who are here legally working to support those overseas, their family and friends, must respect the fact that we even think of doing it. If you come here, you got to respect the laws and processes of the United States of America. That's not a joke. It's the real deal. Andrew Branca is going to wrap up in 5 minutes, and then we're going to close with I want to talk about my kids. Community news, community events, and some venues that you should put on your bucket list if you're traveling to Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Branca. Let's continue. Here we go.
And that parolees were exacerbating immigration system's backlogs. The DHS secretary also stated the parolees' reliance interests are minimized where, as here, the grants were discretionary, limited to 2 years, and they've been here longer than that. And DHS repeatedly warned that these benefits could be revoked at any time. We, the 3-judge panel, agree with the government that reviewing all of the reasons stated in the termination notice better accords with our deferential standard of review. Unlike the Supreme Court decision in Regents, the case of Regents, where the secretary did not address the reliance interest of the DACA, the Dreamer beneficiaries, in terminating the policy, here the Secretary of DHS considered and addressed the reliance interest of the CHNV parolees. So Trump learned from that prior error. The migrants, of course, disagree with the secretary's reasoning and the weight that she gave their significant reliance interest. But while we have no doubt that many parolees have conducted their lives based on a hope that the parole would run for a full 2 years and perhaps serve as a bridge to further immigration opportunities, of course, they never want to go back to their own shithole countries. They want to stay in America. The secretary nonetheless considered the impact of the premature termination on the reliance interests of the parolees and their supporters in the U.S. So we cannot say that the secretary's explanation was so deficient that the migrants have made a strong showing they're likely to succeed on the deferential, arbitrary, and capricious legal standard. Finally, we note that the secretary explained that the humanitarian considerations are best addressed on a case-by-case basis, because that approach would be more consistent with the statute and would take into consideration each person's specific circumstances. In other words, we can revoke parole for everybody instantly, and then if any individual needs parole, they can apply again. Although this statement is somewhat conclusory when read in combination with the other reasons given throughout the termination notice, it does not seem so deficient as to enable the migrants to make a strong showing of a likelihood of success on the merits. Our conclusion is bolstered by the brevity of the department's original explanation of the humanitarian reasons undergirding the creation of the CHNV program. It is difficult to fault a conclusory explanation for a change in policy when the basis for the policy was similarly conclusory. In sum, we hold the migrants have not made a strong showing they're likely to succeed in showing the secretary's decision to terminate the parole program exceeded her discretion. We also conclude the migrants have not made a strong showing they are likely to succeed in demonstrating the termination is so insufficiently reasoned as to be arbitrary and capricious. We recognize the risks of irreparable harm persuasively laid out in Judge Indira Telwani's order, that parolees who lawfully arrived in this country were suddenly forced to choose between leaving in less than a month, a choice that potentially includes being separated from their families, communities, and lawful employment, and returning to dangers in their home countries. Or that was one option, or staying after the loss of parole status, which means the risk of removal proceedings and detention, including expedited removal, the loss of work authorization, and potential effects on their eligibility for other forms of immigration relief in the future. In other words, they were going to lose the free housing, free medical care, free employment opportunities, free education, free cash money, because they'd no longer be in that protected status. But absent a strong showing of a likelihood to succeed on the merits, the risks of irreparable harm cannot by itself support a stay. You need both. You need likelihood to win and irreparable harm. Even if the irreparable harm is large, is huge, if you're lacking a likelihood to win, you don't qualify for the injunction. Given this conclusion on the most critical factors, likelihood to win and irreparable harm, we need not consider the other two factors for an injunction. balance of the equities and public interest. For those reasons, we vacate the order of unelected black robe tyrannical inferior district trial court judge Indira Telwani. Trump is allowed to end parole and throw these people out of the country. Expedited removal of these 530,000 Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan third world migrants infesting our nation and consuming scarce American resources, housing, healthcare, education, employment, social services, cash money, like the human locusts they are. It is so ordered. So a 3-0 win for Trump, a 3-0 win on this 3-judge panel. That was a Biden judge, and an Obama judge. Solid work.
I don't have time for bullshit.
Ladies and gentlemen, so ordered. Trump won. Trump won.
Sundays are
And you gotta the free stuff done. It's not just for Nicaraguans or what what the countries that Attorney Branca just said. What it's universal. So it is a big deal. It was a big, big deal, ladies and gentlemen. A big deal. May I tell you? Welcome back to Naharam Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. It only gets worse from here. If you're not legally here, it's not Biden administration anymore. It's President Donald Trump laying out the common sense. You remember the border wall? That a lot of people were complaining about. He said Mexico is going to pay for it. He said it's time to secure the border. Now in his second term, instead of them coming in, they're heading out. Why? Common sense. It's like you have your home and people are coming in using up your resources, damaging your property, have no respect or no gratitude, and you tell them to leave. Enough is enough. I may be kind of nice, but I'm not that nice. To allow you to step over me and trample my benevolence. Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. immigration has changed. And I say, think about it. This is forever and ever because the Supreme Court, President Donald Trump is using the Supreme Court to tell you what the real deal is. What do you think? Think you're entitled? All those who think they can survive by trashing the United States is the greatest consumer country in the entire world. The United States consumes more goods than a majority of countries around the world. Without the United States, there'll be a disaster economically. And we're going to go back maybe 200 to 300 years in the past. So those who think that the people who immigrate here and you're making a sacrifice to help them who are overseas, and they think that it's business as usual, wait for another year and you will see the real deal. Global economics has changed, ladies and gentlemen. I was a student of the University of Economics, that's George Mason University, and we're seeing the signs. The writings are on the wall. President Donald Trump has said he'll make America great again. A lot of speculations are saying he's living in a fantasy world. Wait. Calm down. Be patient. Because the stage is already set. The plans are already in place and they're in motion. This is not a speedboat. It's a big ship that takes its time to turn. But when it turns, the tsunami of those waves hits billions. Prepare yourself. Because everything that is being done right now is a major plan. The United States is not worried. If you're not here, and if you're not legally here, you gotta worry. Because what is coming? Wow. Wow. That's all I'm gonna say. This is Naram Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk about my kids right now. Gotta say hats off to little Gia, my youngest. She was at school having lunch today. We say hats off to her mom, Nikisha, who prepared that lunch. She said she didn't want the school lunch. She wanted home cooking. That's my youngest. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen. Also, my other two youngest, that's Little George and Elizabeth, they also celebrated Caribbean Week in Florida. Big deal. They had to dress up in Caribbean gear, and hats off to Joanne. Yeah. Joanne did a marvelous job in finding some Caribbean suits. That's Little George and Elizabeth. Big deal. Celebrating Caribbean Week. Goodness gracious me. Yeah. I'll give you another picture of them celebrating Caribbean Week. And I say hats off to their mom, Joanne. Did a wonderful job. I'm telling you, it was a big, big deal. So, let's put that picture up. Here we go. That's the two of them. Yeah. That's my other two youngest. Little George and Elizabeth. Celebrating Caribbean Week in Florida. Big, big deal. Hats off to Joanne, their mom. Say, God bless you all. Love you, all of you. It's a big deal. We're going to go into some community news, ladies and gentlemen. As you remember, Rakesh Memorial on September 28th, Rakesh passed away a year ago. So he left behind a wife and some kids, and we say, please visit New Forest District, Well Road in Manchester, and support the family. They need your help and your support. Support them, ladies and gentlemen. Do what you can. It's a long, hard road for the family of Rakesh. I know them. They're great friends of mine. If you're in South Central Jamaica, go Google New Forest District. Go along the well road that leads you to Port Kaiser, Jamaica, not the road that leads you to Alligator Pond. When you come to the gas station in New Forest District, just hang a right. You won't miss it. On the 28th of September, it's a big deal. Tata Mobile Sound. The Mobile Sound will be there to provide music. Check them out. Give what you can. Support them in any way you can. It's for a good cause because there's kids and a wife that's left behind to fend for themselves. We ask you to help them. Please. From Naram Promotions to you. Ladies and gentlemen, you also got to remember, it is Crazy Monday. Tonight, you've got Team British, DJ Deshaun, rocking away right now in New Forest District in Manchester, right by Mel's Bar at Eon's Lawn. If you don't know where that is, call me. I'll tell you. But Crazy Mondays is off the chain, guys. It's a place you got to put on your bucket list if you haven't been there. But if you're in the vicinity, go there and hang out. Be stressed because the vibe is right. You got Team British who will provide you some real good entertainment. DJ Deshaun. Oh my God. Whoa. I got the wrong one up, so let me remove that because I got ahead of myself. So let's bring up the real deal on tonight's affair at Crazy Monday. Let's reset that. I gotta get the right Crazy Mondays up there, and I'm hunting for it because I got it from Misha at the right spot. She was the one I snagged it from her page. Oh, here we go. We got the right Crazy Mondays right now. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. No, man, I had the wrong one there. Again. Today is the 15th, right? Yeah, Crazy Mondays is going on tonight, so just check it out. You don't have to worry. Father Ian, the father to Malika, he's in the kitchen making sure the food right. Whenever I visit Jamaica, I always go to Crazy Mondays. You know why? The soup good, the food good, the chicken, the curry good, whatever. The pork. You understand me? It's always good. So check out Crazy Mondays. Mel's Bar at Ian's Lawn in New Forest District in Manchester is off the chain. Crazy Mondays is a place to hang out on a Monday night to unwind in a great atmosphere. Music right and the vibe is right. Big up to Mel and Father Ian every time. Remember, Asher D returns to live UK radio. Ladies and gentlemen, Asher D, one of the UK's finest and baddest disc jockeys. He's in the music industry also. He's responsible for a lot of artists, mainstream artists, that is. He's responsible for their careers, for where they are today, for the work he has done in the past. He took a break from radio, live radio, and he's back on radio on September 19th. And that's going to be every Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. UK time, and his show is called Traffic Jam Show, and it's going to be on passionukradio.com or passionradiouk.com. Sorry. You can go to Apple Store, download the app, also the Google Store. You can also download the app or go on to passionradiouk.com, and you will get to the app, and you will be ready for in 4 days. That's September 19th. Guaranteed. He will be there. And he'll be live and kicking. Ladies and gentlemen, big up to Asher D, my nephew. He's also on, I think it's the 19th, Sir Len Blake, former member of Parliament. He will be presenting a what you call a birthday affair on Friday, September 19th at 7 p.m. at Blakey's Complex in Littitz, St. Elizabeth. You don't want to miss this. You know, say him son, Mario, a part of the Rum for Tea crew. And you know, so the Rum for Tea crew will be there, and one whole heap of crew on the balcony up there. You understand, from the height, so you can see. Have you ever been to Blakey's Complex? It's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Blakey's Complex is amazing. The security tight, because guess what? You can't jump off of there, you can't jump up. Yeah, and you gotta cut steel to get upstairs if you can't pass security. It's a beautiful complex, and it's secure, it's gated. So you have adequate parking space. Beautiful complex in Littitz. They did a marvelous job on creating one of the most envied locations in South Central Jamaica. Big up to Mr. Blake, and this is going to be a big deal on September 19th. 4 days time. Friday, I come here, I tell you, go there. He said, food on the house, drinks on sale. Big up Mr. Len Blake. Former MP. Goodness gracious me. This is going to be one of the biggest parties in South Central Jamaica. This is a big, big deal. Food on the house. Me, I tell you. Do you remember Gallus Anthem? You remember Gallus Anthem? DJ Kino? It's September 26th, next week. It's next week, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking about this for a very long time. DJ Kino birthday celebration called Gallus Anthem. This is the street dance edition. And this is going to be Friday, September 26th at Wayne's Bar, Bentown, Common Pen, Manchester, border, St. Elizabeth. You talk about big? You know, losing mom the other day, condolences to him and his family. But this deal? Naga good, Bentown Naga good again. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you miss this, it's to this. You're going to miss a party. I'm telling you. You're going to be here. Gallus Anthem. Big up to DJ Kino. It's overloaded. Gallus Anthem. Gallus Anthem. Overloaded. It's a big deal. Yalis Anthem. Goodness gracious me. Ladies and gentlemen, you have some things in our life where I tell you, this is one of them where you can't forget. In New York, in Queens, New York, we have a girl from Lititz, St. Elizabeth. Every year, she has a St. Best party. Every year. I've been to a few of them. And it does not disappoint. We say to Odette, alongside Sandra, they're going to be presenting St. Best Togetherness on October 4th, to Saturday, at Compound 190 to 01 Linden Boulevard in Queens, New York. You're going to be entertained by DJ Andy, Echo Stone Troy, and the big bad Glamour Wayne. If you're in New York and you want to have a great time and you want to put on your fancy clothes, trust me, Odette and Sandra with St. Best Togetherness, it's a statement. This is a statement, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be at a real party where you can put on your things and come well, and link up with some Ray and Nevia too. Big Bad Glamour Wayne, big friend of mine since the 80s, early 80s. And we have not lost a beat. And he has not lost a beat. He's one of the biggest, baddest DJs in the world right now. Guaranteed. St. Best Togetherness is going to be off the chain, ladies and gentlemen. You got to check it out if you're here in New York City, in Queens. And this is on October 4th. It's a Saturday, 2025. October 4th, 2025. 190 to 01 Linden Boulevard. Be there. It's going to be off the chain. Big up to Odette and Sandra. You remember Junction City? Yeah, man, October 26th, right? You remember Junction City? Impact event, man. Oh, another one there. Impact event. October 26th in Junction City. You know Impact? They make an impact in Junction. Affordable, great parties. Tickets are being sold and the tickets are selling out. So you got to go get your tickets right now. This is a big deal. Santa Cruz at Dimitri's. Junction at Yardman Gas Station, Outer Space Strip, Jackie Wholesale in Junction. All of those three. You can get tickets. I don't know how long or how many tickets they have left. But you got to go there and get your ticket. It's cheap. I think VIP is $4,000. More at the gate. I mean, I go for VIP. You understand me? Mandeville at Ultimate Dining. Beautiful establishment, by the way. I've been there. I've eaten there. Great atmosphere. Tickets are being sold right there. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big, big deal. So big up to the Impact crew and the Impact family. And I tell you, they're going to be on the show. Yeah, man. We missed them the last time. No, they're gonna talk about this on this show. Mark my words. This is Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell. Yeah, that was Book It. Big up to the crew of Book It. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Impact has all your signage. If you want posters and T-shirts, hats. They have it all. The printing service there is off the chain. So check them out in Junction City. That's Impact. And they're making an impact. I can guarantee you that. So the next one up is Mumasketel. Mumasketel, December 6th. Thing loud. Big up to Mumasketel. Oh yeah. She calls it Ambition Over Hype, December 6th, 2025. Tic Tac Sound and DJ Splendid will be off the chain. You understand me? This is a big deal. It's a year-to-year event, and it's at Time Is Now Car Wash in Prospect District in Manchester. Do not miss this. It's one of those parties that if you miss all parties, don't miss that one. I guarantee you. Mr. The rum, I got floor. The food, I got no. And it's affordable. Big up to Mumasketel. Yeah. Ambition Over Hype. Big up Mumasketel every time. Hats off to you, my girl. You've been doing it every year. My sidekick, my friend. You understand? Bonafide, sister, every time. Big up. Ambition Over Hype, ladies and gentlemen, December 6th. Time Is Now Car Wash in Prospect District in Manchester. Mumasketel thing sell off already. May I tell you? Yeah. You remember Randy? Rum Petit Crew? You remember it? I don't know if you remember. You remember? You remember the party for Boxing Day? I wonder if you remember the party.
Kane, you're stupid.
Boxing Day this year. One big bad party. What them call it? Turn Up. Randy and Otis. I want big deal lesson. Christmas time. I wonder if you understand the ramification of this party, that everybody can just come converge right there. So. Yeah, man. Randy and Otis presents the original Boxing Day event, December 26th, Mango Tree Bar in Turnip, Manchester. Big deal. Big up to Randy and Otis. This is a big deal. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. You won't be disappointed. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to big up an event in South Florida. My own family is having its 30th anniversary in November. Yeah, man, a big deal. This is a big deal.
You're stupid.
If you ever heard about Jerk-Up, yeah, man, Jerk-Up in Tampa, Florida, GEORGEASHMEADE is my first cousin. And they have a chain of restaurants called the Jerk-Up. 30th year anniversary this year. Oh, yeah. It's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to just play a clip of what's going on at the Jerk-Up so you can understand. It's a chain of restaurants. It's a tourist attraction of Jamaican food like you've never seen it before. He has done a good job, a great job at creating a space that the world can come in to the party capital of the world to see Jamaican food in full display, and you get the live band stuff. So let's bring that to the stage. Here we go. I'm going to play that for you right now. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
And y'all should know about Jerk Cut. It's been here for 32 years. The ox sale's going crazy. So you know I had to pull up and see what everything else inside was hitting for. Let's go! But y'all see I got the oxtails on my plate. Let's just go ahead and go big or go home. The oxtail. The ox is tailing. Oh yeah. Hold on. Cabbage. I'm gonna dip that cabbage in that gravy though, so it'll look like that right there. Rice and peas. We're gonna do the same. I need some oxtail gravy on that. And you can't forget the sweet plantain. Nah, they got a buffet going on. Okay then, we got the big buffet each and every day here at Jerk Cut. You know they gonna have the beef patties. Oh, there go the tongs. This is what I'm looking for right here. You gonna grab that beef patty right there. And then they have a lot of stuff, but they have oxtail gravy. This is what I wanna do. I wanna put the oxtail gravy on my beef patty. You gotta put oxtail gravy on your beef patty. Now, I got jerk pork. Look at that. Look like little rib tips. You can taste the char on these. Here is the famous Jerk Cut chicken. The famous Jerk Cut chicken. They have it soaked in the red sauce, marinated for hours, days, however you want to say. You know what I'm saying? We got green jerk sauce. Put it on that chicken here at Jerk Cut. Wow. This is a blend of all ingredients that give jerk its unique taste. Try mixing it with Andrew's famous sweet and tasty red sauce. Red sauce. This is the famous red sauce, guys. Shout out to that boy Andrew. Hopefully this ain't the hottest red sauce.